Right now, there's something that you want to create, be, or do, and you're sitting on it because you don't feel ready. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why you have to start before you feel ready. If for no other reason, then you have no idea how good it can get. Let's chat. I'm Melvin, and on this channel, I talk about all things purpose, identity, creativity, and at this point, starting. See, I just started this channel, and I've noticed, because of algorithms, that a lot of the engagement on the video that are talking about starting a YouTube channel, being brand new to the platform, have a lot of engagement. And of course, I'm seeing those videos because I'm currently in that state. But what that also tells me is that there are a lot of other individuals in the same spot that I am, wanting to start something, wanting to create something, and wanting to find a way to get ready before they have to actually get out in the field. So as someone that is nervously and cautiously in the field, I'm inviting you to join me. I'm inviting you to take a step forward even though you don't yet feel fully ready. One of the things that I'll bring to this channel is that I find myself studying people and creatives and learning about their journey and learning about their path to wherever they find themselves and wherever I'm pulling inspiration from them from. And so one of the things that I've learned is that there's a lot of freedom in starting. There's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of opportunity in just starting. I think most of us will see, for me, the YouTuber, or it could be the artist, it could be the professional that's at a pinnacle of sorts in their career that we can look at and kind of take inspiration from. But there's a sense of youthfulness and vitality that comes from being in that stage where you're kind of toddling on the path that you'll one day run or tread on. And I'll be honest with you, you can develop some level of increased readiness by studying and over preparing before you actually get out in the arena and you do the thing that you're willing to do. But the fact of the matter is, when you start, you're going to be a beginner. And a lot of the components that are causing you to feel unprepared for the thing that you actually want to do are still going to exist. And worse, you won't be able to get rid of the anxiety, the potential dread, the buildup of energy that you feel unless you actually get on the road, unless you get started. I spoke about this in my last video where I discussed why not starting is so stressful. But when you get started, it's like a release valve for your ideas and passions. So all the things that are kind of swirling around that have no home and have no place to exist outside of you finally have a place to thrive and to grow and to bloom without you feeling like you have to carry them around or not forget them in case someone else were to start or try your idea. But most people put off starting because they don't feel ready, they don't feel good enough. But that readiness, that competence comes from starting and practicing. It's when you practice that you finally get to work out that sensation of not feeling ready. Another thing that I've noticed in my informal study, myself included, is that often people will delay starting because they're hyper-fixated on a singular component of a thing that they want to do. This could be hair, this could be skin, this could be your background, your lighting, your audio, or something more extensive like a certification. And if you actually need a certification to be competent in practicing, maybe, anyway, whatever. But what you can't see because you're too busy being your talented, amazing self while being your preoccupied, worried self is that we don't receive you in part. We receive you in your totality. So while you're saying, okay, my hair is not great, the lighting is not amazing, we're looking at the entirety of who you are as a person presenting in this instance and pulling what we can from you. You could be worried about some irregularity on your face and not know that we have poor vision and can't see you that clearly anyway. Or in the case of YouTube videos, you could be concerned about your lighting and we're listening to you distractedly while we wash dishes or do some or scroll on something. And additionally, another thing that I've just noticed about the human experience is that it is rare that we are always, because I don't think that mentally we can contain or process it all of the time. When you're interacting with people, we're interacting with your whole you, we're interacting with your physical movements, we're interacting with who you are as a person, we're interacting with your energy. And so often we can get slowed down and hampered by being focused on parts when unbeknownst to us, we're always showing up as a complete package, no matter how prepared or how ready we actually feel inside. And so when you're focused on a small part of who you are, a small part of your setup, a small part of your venture that you're going after, we can't see that because we don't have the opportunity to take you for granted. You're used to who you are. We're not. You're used to how good you are. We're not. You don't show up as a part you're worried about. You show up as you. And this is my first time getting to interact with you. This is my first time seeing you. I'm not fixating on parts. If you're in the arena doing something that feels expansive and courageous and nerve-wracking. There is an energy of boldness and courage and bravery and adventureness that is coming across that you can't be aware of because all you can see and feel is the overwhelming fear. Which leads me to my next point, which is that we often don't start because we're afraid. It's human, but it's a mistake that we shouldn't make. And the mistake is that we take our fear of being indicative of something tangible, something like fact, something that we have to eradicate before we act. But newsflash, and I want you to take it from me, if you have something valuable to say, if you feel like you have something important to share, we don't mind if your voice shakes. We don't mind if you had to chop a video up as into as many small parts as possible to get your message across. We don't mind that. See, that fear is human. And if you spend all the time trying to eradicate it before you take action, then we are missing out on the other beautiful human qualities that you have to offer us that could live and coexist alongside the fear in those early stages. Additionally, to drive this point home, if we were in a burning building or there were a carbon monoxide leak, I do not care what you have on. Tell me what I need to know. Further, and why starting is so important is that fear gets worked out in the doing. It gets worked out in the practice. Fear gets worked out in the realization that, hey, this isn't so bad. But you can't realize that this isn't that bad if this is still that or that or that. Now, some people recommend running in the direction of your fear so you can vanquish them rapidly and to grow and expand. I'm not going to tell you to do that yet because I'm still working nervously and cautiously in the direction of all of this. But what I will say is that I saw a quote that said that you never procrastinate or fear doing something that's bad for you. So imagine, if that is even slightly true, that means that the things that are good for us and that will help us expand will be in some measure accompanied by fear. It could be introducing yourself to someone. It could be starting that creative project. It could be any potential thing that causes you to move forward in a new and bold way. It might likely be accompanied by fear, which might also mean that the most meaningful and the most fruitful things will be the scariest. So you could also take fear as an indication that that's somewhere that I'm afraid to go, a direction that I'm afraid to go in, but that I need to because that's where the expansion is. Another reason why you have to start before you feel ready is that you can't see all the good that can happen, and that will happen once you start. I see a lot of creators get started to start moving, to start doing something new and say, I wish I had started sooner. And now, I've only recorded a few videos for public distribution like this one, and I must say, I think I'm starting to feel that sensation creep up. The feeling of like, what was I waiting for? Like, it was scary then, it was scary before I hit record, and like, here we are, and it's not so bad. Like, this is not so bad. But the reason why we can't see how good it'll be or what good can happen is because we're hyper-fixated. We're so focused on the cost of starting, what we think is required, what tools we think we'll need, what we think we'll need internally and externally to feel comfortable enough to start. As if starting is about comfort, as if starting is about readiness. Starting is about literally starting, like nothing else matters. But while we are overestimating the cost of starting, we are undercalculating the benefit of getting on the journey and doing something. Even if we don't continue it. If you do something where you put yourself out there, you don't consider the people that you might meet, the opportunities you might run into, or simply the new state of being that comes with existing in this new way. I can't remember who said it, but someone said that the change of anything is a change of everything. And so if you are starting something brand new, that change doesn't stay isolated in the space that you record in the space that you paint in the space that you write in. Like, that change becomes a transforming agent in the entirety of who you are. Additionally, the sense of purpose and practice and contribution will start to permeate the other areas of your life in ways that you can't see or possibly calculate. We'll talk much more about this later, but your energy system, your aura, your vibe is influenced by your thoughts, your energy, your emotions, and your actions. So if you move from wanting to start and delaying taking action and putting your dreams over there to doing, practicing, and developing confidence unbeknownst to you, that same confidence will spread to other areas of your life and to give you benefits that are unplanned and that you couldn't imagine. I think we humans, as if there are other species that will be listening, I think we humans have a lot more energy at our disposal than we actually access typically because we don't do enough of things that kind of make us come alive. And so you moving in a new direction, you will put to use aspects of yourself, aspects of your energy that you probably don't use on a regular basis because you aren't living in this area where fear is accosting you. So that same satisfaction that you feel after you hit publish or you post something, a draft of your thoughts, or you introduce yourself to someone, or you go to a new creative group that you are interested in. That same satisfaction you'll have radiate off of you the next day, or when you're at work, or when you're in communication with your friends, and people will be able to notice, hey, something's a little bit different. So you have to start, even if you aren't good at every single part of the process, because you're not going to be. Which leads me to the fact that you won't and can't be good at every part of the process when you start. So you allow yourself to develop piecemeal. If you start anything that has more than a couple parts to it, you will likely be bad, terrible, god-awful, and amateur at it, at least when you begin. Or maybe just not that good. But similar to fixating on a part of yourself and withholding from us the benefit of your entirety, if you focus on not being good at a part and thus don't start, then you can't get good at the whole that'll really make you good. So when you start, acknowledge that some parts will be bad, some not so bad, and that there will be other areas where you really shine. Then you build competence and confidence to start working on those underperforming areas. None of which, or little of which, you can do mentally before you get in the arena. And the benefit of starting anything badly is that by simply doing, improvement is almost guaranteed. I mean, that's what being human is all about. I promise I'm not extraterrestrial from here. And what I think is the best part is that when you're starting out, most people won't notice. Like if you put out a new song tomorrow, you're not going to be the most streamed artist the day after. So you get to be bad and a novice in a relative obscurity while you practice and develop. So there's no use, there's no reason for you not starting, because the thing that you're afraid of won't happen until you at least develop some mastery. You get to go a long way in the direction of mastering your craft before people really start to notice. Then because you started, we can see where you began and appreciate how good you got and take inspiration from your path. So start bad. So wrapping up, I have a contentious relationship with the truth. Like, I like it because it's helpful and it makes me aware of things that are important, but also it can be kind of confronting whenever I'm seeing or learning something that I don't necessarily feel ready for. You know, for instance, this quote that I heard that said that ready is not a feeling, it is a decision. And that likely that feeling of readiness, that feeling of preparation won't come until you've done something a dozen times, until you put yourself out there a dozen times. That's when ready finally decides to show up. So decide that you're ready, or not, while unfinished, unprepared, unpolished, and work all of those nervous feelings out on the practice field. I'll see you there.